my pleasure to welcome a good friend and brother in Fahamme. And before I do that, I wanted to make sure that you understand that Fahamme is about all of us, and all of us that are not here. We are one in the world and one in the universe. And we're trying to make sure that everyone understands that this is not about being better than anyone, it's about being ourselves. We're going back to our original self. And said, what is Fahamme? It is understanding. And it is also the name of the new Negro culture, founded on the background of our ancestor worship, over due reverence for our noble ancestors, ancient and divine, whose wisdom graced the lands of Egypt, Ethiopia, Chaldea, Arabia, Canaan, and the entire torrid zone, the torrid belt of this mystic name of Ethiopia. So that means the entire earth, approximately 1,000 miles north and south of that. We were the people that populated that, and we're the people that populated every piece of earth that is now occupied by humans. The people of color were the first ones to occupy those countries, and that's regardless of England or Switzerland or the Netherlands. The first people to set foot on all the land that we now call home were us. And with no further ado, I would like to welcome up Priest Khalid Omar. Give him a hand.
Thank you all. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
I'm actually kind of trying to put on a little bit of a delay tactic. I inadvertently gave the email the wrong address.
I'm gonna probably stand up.
I called most of them and corrected the situation. There is one that I am concerned about, but let me just check one moment here and see if he tries to call me.
Can I stand?
Doesn't look like he has. I did send him a correction text, but I don't know how he checks his text. Fahamme brothers and sisters.
Fahamme.
First thing I'd like to do is thank Imam Barack Ahmed Corbett for the enlightening introduction. And I would like to thank the Divine Temple of Understanding for allowing me this opportunity to speak to you all this evening. And I would also like to thank you for being here, for allowing yourself the opportunity to hear what I have to say. I appreciate it, and I hope that I am inspired to give you the information or some information that you can take, that you can digest, and you can use to help make your life better. I'm going to make one more little piece of preparation here by taking off my sweater, because believe it or not, I'm getting hot already. Is this seat here for me? Am I supposed to?
Yes, sir.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Soul force is the greatest power in, I got a word, in the world. And whenever any group learns how to apply and use that force, both heaven and earth obey. not that familiar with Fahamme, that's some pretty powerful stuff. Think about it. You have the ability to make the world obey you. Nobody's ever told me that before, have you? What I want you to do, I want you to take that and I want you to let it resonate. I want you to let it resonate. And I'm going to revisit that before the end of this lecture. This essay is actually the result of a statement made by a young, ambitious, bright Fahamme, whose name is Ali. Sitting in the back of the room. He inspired this lecture through a conversation he and I were having. We were talking about undeveloped statements that were made by some people in the conscious African American community. Now, these are not the exact statements that we made, that we were talking about. You know, I have some confidentiality issues being a priest. So what I did is I came up with two statements that were very similar to what was being said. And I tried to get these statements to be extreme of each other. One of the statements I came up with is that and you hear it a lot. People, you know, once they realize that what it is that they believe in was incorrect, and they really don't have any place to go after that. You know, but they do know that what they were previously believing in was incorrect. And they make statements like, well, they don't believe in religion. See, there's a reason for that. And then on the opposite end of that spectrum, you hear people saying things like, and you know, you have to give them that, because they say things like, Jesus was a black man. Well, I said in my blog, I don't know how many of you had a chance to read the blog, but I said in my blog that there was a problem with statements like this. But as I was directed to think about it a little bit further, and actually, the sister that directed me to think about it a little bit further is also in the room, and her name is Portia. Bright, very well educated young lady, and I hope soon be a Fahamme. She's had a lot of education in Fahamme, so be careful of what you say. But she inspired me to go back and think about it a little bit further. And I have come up with a better understanding that there really is no problem with those statements. Some of you probably saying, well, I didn't think it was a problem in the beginning. Yeah, in the beginning I did. But I had to think about it a little bit more, and I had to remember what I had been taught by my teachers, High Priest Khalid. The understanding that I have came up with is that really that way of thinking is actually growth and development for some people. Because remember, if you elevate 1 micro inch from where you were, that's growth. And High Priest Khalid made me understand that growth, no matter how small, is progress. But what I would like to propose is further growth. And the way I'd like to propose it is through more thought and more examination of what is being said. In other words, think about what you thought about and then think about that. Just keep thinking about a thing and thinking about ways to make whatever that thing is more correct. Because knowledge is what? Infinite. The Fahamme Rasul, just so we can understand, he defined a couple of things. Now, they said that they didn't believe in religion. Why do you think they didn't believe in religion? Because they really didn't understand what religion is. You know, Fahamme is really not a religion. It is divine understanding. And in a way, if you really know what religion is, then it is a religion. And the Rasul defined religion as the worship of someone's, don't have to be yours, right? The worship of someone's ancestors, coupled with an ideal about God. So let's just break that down so we can understand what he meant. To worship means, no, it doesn't mean going jumping, howling, whooping, and dancing, and screaming, and shouting, like some people say. But to worship means to give due reverence. Due reverence, what is that? Due reverence means respect and honor. And an ideal about God is simply an ideal concerning how you came into existence. Now, these culturally conscious people, are they telling us that they don't want to give honor and respect to their noble ancestors and their thoughts of how we came into existence? How many people here want to stand up and tell me that that's something that they don't want to do? So really, it's just what? Misunderstanding. And then on the other end of the spectrum, regardless of what color they have given to the man of the cloth, the truth of the matter is what counts. And the truth is that the principles that he represents, or represented, I guess he still represents, are those of Asah, the S-U-N, Son of God. And there is no doubt that he is yours and my noble ancestor. Now, as we were discussing this, Brother Ali very wittingly blew me away. Very wittingly said, they haven't changed God. What he was saying in this case was that although the individuals making the statements claimed African cultural consciousness, a more in-depth examination of the things that they were professing and doing revealed that they predominantly remain under the thought influence of the dominant society to a certain, if not very large degree. And if that is the case with the cultural conscious community, imagine the need to change God in the rest of the African American community. Understand, brothers and sisters, saying that you've changed gods, wearing dashikis, speaking languages given to the Africans to facilitate trade, beating drums, and doing African dance is not changing God. But it's a start. But we still have a long way to go. Now, what Brother Ali was implying was that the current way of thinking by the vast majority of our people remains from someone else's cultural perspective. Show you how that works. At the onset of education in this society, we are taught that the greatest societies and the smartest people in history didn't look like us. And we honor and we feed into that, consciously or subconsciously. How? Well, by pledging an organization that call themselves by names that aren't ours, like Greek, for an example. And by worshiping Greek gods, like Zeus, and Asian gods, and Roman gods, and by the way we name our children. And even more importantly, how we view and think about a thing. We propagate others' ideas and the way in which they translate truths. What about your own ideas and your own truths? And the thing about it is that their ideas came from your ideas. Okay? But their ideas don't get to the root of the matter. In other words, it does not give you pride, honor, and self-respect. Our ideas, thoughts, opinions, and philosophies are in harmony with the greatest minds of ancient and modern times. Fahamme Rasul. I heard this doctor, a world-renowned African-American pediatric news say, do y'all know what I'm talking about? Dr. Ben Carson?
Yes.
He said that Obamacare, and you'll hear it again, because I think he might be running for president or something, I don't know. But he said that Obamacare was the worst thing to ever happen to this society. He is totally incorrect. Public education is the worst thing to ever happen to this society. Now, it could also be the greatest blessing. But as it is, public education gave the society a tool to ensure that the majority of the people in the society would be under a controlled way of thinking. Or indoctrination. Or as Carter G. Woodson called it, and if you're young and you haven't read The Miseducation of the Negro by Carter G. Woodson, you should. Every African-American citizen of the United States, or probably throughout the world, should have that book in their library. But he called it miseducation. Why is that so important? Because education guides and directs the thought process. Chapter 29. We'll talk about chapter 9 a little later. In the Holy Fahamme Gospel is entitled Change God. What is that? Y'all have heard me say that a lot, right? And some people, you know, especially those who are not familiar with Fahamme, change God. There's only one God. Yeah, he has many names.
I'm good.
And we're going to get to that too. A change of gods means a change of thought, action, feeling, and doing. It means the development of your own culture, religion, education, and civilization. Fahamme Rasul. Changing gods means changing the way you think. A new educational system is needed. One that teaches you to see things from your own cultural perspective. The perspective of your own noble ancestors. The ones that know you best. All people aren't the same as some would have you think. People or cultures have different temperaments, and they have different needs. Now, What thoughts are we perpetuating when we refuse to look within ourselves for solutions to our problems? The thoughts of other people. The dogma of the dominant society is designed to get you to buy in. From birth, Santa Claus, the Great Flood. Rome wasn't built in a day. Snow White, angel food cake, you name it. It goes on and on. I can sit up here probably for an hour or two and just name things that are designed to get you to think a certain way. And now I'm getting ahead of myself on the lecture. The educational institutions also teaches you Newton's laws, Pythagorean theory, Darwin's theory of evolution, and the list goes on and on and on. And all of this knowledge and these processes are derived out of Africa. Kim or Ham. And what are you taught about? Ham, which is the motherland. It was cursed. No place on earth has more natural resources, but it was cursed. And we buy into that. And everything black represents the underworld. What kind of teaching, or what is that kind of teaching designed to do? It is designed to make you think a certain way about them and a certain way about yourself. Changing gods means changing who or what is ruling you when you're not getting the results necessary to grow or develop, such as an alcoholic. An alcoholic is ruled by, and junkies. Junkies are ruled by dope or drugs. Some people are ruled by other things, as we have previously discussed, such as other people's way of thinking about things. And when I say other people, I mean other people's ideals about God or way of thinking that does not correspond to your own. Some do. There is, or there are, more than one, people of different nationalities, different backgrounds, and different cultures that teach truth. But remember, there are two things that we need to be concerned with. We need to be concerned with universal understanding, or truth, because God has no respect of person when it comes to giving people knowledge. Okay? And then we have to think of culture. You see, God never sent a prophet to the world. He always sent a prophet to a people. Because a prophet brings a special message to the people in addition to the universal truths. The Negro will have to change gods, like Jesus and Moses did. Mark 15, for those of you who are adept in the Christian Bible. Check out Mark 15, Matthew 27:46, Exodus 5:22, Exodus 6:3, and 34:14. Did anybody bring some paper today? Did they tell you all that this was going to be a classroom? That's what this is all about. Oh, look at this. I know that they do not believe this now, but they will. Moses quit I am for Jehovah, and Jesus quit Jehovah for Elohim. Fahamme Rasul. The Fahamme Rasul made it very plain that we can change anything about ourselves when he said, every man who is the son of the S-U-N son, or a son of man, knows that he does not have to make trouble. He can change his tactics, or he can change God's. Or he can change his politics, culture, philosophy, and religion completely, and also his language. Fahamme Rasul. So, the Fahamme movement is about more than changing the way you dress, talk, or what you call yourself. Those are starters. It is about changing the way you think and what you know to be possible, and through what route you know things to be possible. And dig a little bit further into that. I know some of y'all looking over there and saying, how did this relate? Russell didn't misspeak. It means changing what makes you tick, what makes you angry, or what drives you up the wall. It means changing your values. It may mean changing the things you do and why you do them, and even with whom you do them with. When one people are scorned, hated, ignored, and oppressed by another people, it is mostly because the weaker and oppressed have not got the sense enough to leave the gods of their oppressor alone. Fahamme Rasul. Remember, the name invokes the spirit. Now, the big question. What spirit do you want to invoke? Let us make it even more simple or less complex. What am I really wanting you to understand? High Imam Habib DeHart, Dickey, a devoted Fahamme, co-founder of Matthew Dickey Boys and Girls Club, and the recipient of the Presidential Citizens Award for his lifetime achievements. He used to love to quote the Fahamme Gospel, where it says that you and your God are one and the same. Let me further explain. God is omnipresent or omnipresent, omnipotent or omnipotent, or omniscient or omniscience, meaning that he is everything. He is in everything. He is the presence of mind, the universal mind within the smallest grain of sand, and is the universal intelligence, meaning without fault. He's all present, all powerful, and all knowing. And everything has a purpose in life. The more you develop yourself spiritually and intellectually, the higher your purpose in life. Meaning, the closer you are becoming who you are, who you truly are, a god or goddess, like the noble ancestors. The more you truly know and understand, the higher your purpose in life. The closer you are to becoming who you are, a god or goddess, like your noble ancestors. If those fighting, rioting, killing, robbing, stealing in the streets, if they had more knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, then they would have a different purpose in life. So, who is truly responsible for the behavior? Those who are responsible for the education. Come into the Fahamme family of world brotherhood and begin to live the new life. Fahamme Rasul. As you truly grow, so does your purpose in life. And everything has a purpose in life. I still haven't come to it. Well, to it now. Soul voice is the greatest power in the world. And whenever any group learns how to apply and use that force, both heaven and earth obey them. Fahamme Rasul. An individual has a soul. A people also have a soul. Your soul is who you are. And the soul of a people is who they are as a people. The Fahamme Rasul put it like this in chapter 9 of the Fahamme Gospel. Culture is the soul of a people, their entire existence and being, from their beginning on up to their end. A wise angel told me in a vision, you people will have to find your own gods in Islam. Our soul is lost, and we will have to find it. It is already saved. A race has a soul, just as a person has a soul. Our soul is saved. It has everything we need. But it is lost to us, and we must find it. It is the collective spirit power of the race. Our soul will be found through realization of self. Fahamme Rasul. Ladies and gentlemen, once we realize the power of the gods and goddesses within us, our noble ancestors, that blood running through us, right? Then we will know and exercise our full potential. And that potential is that we can change not only our personal lives, but we can change the course of the world. Yeah. Change gods. Come into the Fahamme family of world brotherhood and begin to live the new life. Fahamme Rasul. Fahamme.